What's going on, guys? Chris here at Cloud Reduction Junk Removal in Palm Beach County, Florida. And as mentioned in yesterday's video, today we went ahead and broke down all of the operations that we do with the business, and we're trying to find ways that we can simplify it to either save time, money, or just make things a little bit less stressful. So I went ahead and wrote down all of my general operations in order of how they occur, and they should be pretty identical to yours if you have a junk removal business. And then I'm going to talk about the ways I came up with to try to simplify them, how to do it, and then some of the more constant things I'm going to try to start implementing in my daily routine. So, starting off the list with general operations, we have marketing and networking. Next, we have customer calls and online inquiries. After that is scheduling the job execution, disposal of the junk, expense tracking, job specs tracking, and then online updates, whether it's for my website, business information, or social media. So, as far as how they can be simplified, for marketing, I'm going to stick what has been proven to work for myself. Not for you, not for him, not for her, for myself. Because I do think a lot of it varies on location, how you operate and run your business, and how you present it, and then just the typical audience member that you're aiming for. So, for me, Facebook ads didn't work out super well the few times I've done them, and I've done them with higher budgets and more targeted areas, and I've learned how to do it, and it still just doesn't do, I feel like, as much for me. I haven't done Google ads seriously, so I'm not going to kick the bucket on that, but it's not something I'm pushing for right now. Yard signs are affordable and have been proven to bring me in work. Driving around, doing ghost routes, even just driving in general, I've had people say, hey, I was just driving behind you, and they call on book jobs. So ghost routes have been proven to work. Going to realtor offices, apartment buildings, senior living facilities, storage units, reaching out directly to realtors and professional organizers. Those are all have been proven to give me consistent work, seeking out vendor positions, stuff like that. So those are the things I've started off doing since day one. They still work out for me. I'm going to continue doing it because I think at the end of the day, if it isn't broken, don't fix it kind of situation applies. And the more I do it, the more comfortable and knowledgeable I am in that field. So I'm only going to continue getting better with how I actually market. Now, as far as networking goes, I want to stick to free, local, and repetitive. The best thing I can think of is they have these coffee meetups like on every Tuesday and Thursday at some of these local roasteries where they'll just have people of all different businesses come out, you chit chat, you exchange business cards, and that's free to do, except for buying a beverage, which a couple dollar coffee, that's fine. It's local, so I don't have to worry about time and scheduling as much. And then it's repetitive. They do it every week. So if I can make that a point to go to, assuming I don't have a job lined up, then I can not only meet with other businesses, whether I'm actually networking to exchange services or trying to pull in referrals, but I can also just meet with people and talk on a business-to-business standpoint, so maybe I can learn a thing or two. And then, of course, if I can do it every week, I'm likely either going to be meeting with similar people that I can help build relationships with, or I'll be meeting new people each time so that I can broaden my network. Customer calls and online inquiries. This is whether somebody's just calling me in general, or maybe they're inquiring online through my website. I think the best thing to do is to set up a prompt that you're comfortable with speaking out every time and you can memorize it, so it needs to be simple. And you need to make it easy enough to where it's easy for the customer to understand what you're saying, they can understand what's going on, and on top of that, you're not going to jumble around your words and trip on everything. So keep it basic and simple. My main goal is to find out key details. So how they found out about me, their name, their number, their location, and their availability for the estimate. The next thing is to schedule a job. I personally don't use Workies or any kind of app that like pre-schedules things for me, as I don't do it for customer calls as well. What I use is my calendar or my notepad, and I'll just write down the month. I will put down the customer's name, and if I have an estimate drawn up, I'll put down the number of the estimate so I can just go my invoice app and look up the details. but I'll put down their name and their location and then the time. So let's say for me, if I have, here's my county, here's me in Boynton Beach, here is Delray, here's Boca, here's Jupiter. This is actually backwards. But, you know, if from here to here is 45 minutes away, and from here to here is 15, and this is 30, if I have a job at 9 o'clock in Boynton, then if somebody calls and says, hey, what's your availability on the same exact day I have the 9 o'clock appointment? I'm going to say, okay, well, you're located in Boca. All right, it's about a half hour away. I think the job's probably going to take me, I'll give myself like a 2-hour window. You know, I'll say I can get there around 11:30 to 12 o'clock. Whereas maybe they're in Delray, it's 15 minutes away, that's easy. Maybe they're in Jupiter, 45 minutes plus expected traffic. You know, just by knowing the location and the time, I can give myself a prominent amount of time to get there to where I'm not going to be late. I don't like being late. I am always on time unless there's just something that I can't control. So those are the simple details I like to try to remember. For job execution, I do still do the majority of this myself. I do have somebody now that is okay with receiving a 1099. That's a long story with the other guy. But he just kind of runs side hustles and does his own thing. So availability wise, he's pretty open. So I will use him when I have a time sensitive job, or if it's a bigger job, it's just going to kind of kick my butt. Obviously, I don't want to get burnt out. And then on top of that, I want to make sure I'm utilizing my proper equipment as much as possible to simplify loading, to make it quicker and easier, and to relieve stress on my body. As far as disposal goes, obviously you have donation, dumping, selling, scrapping, and recycling. So my first goal is to always try to donate first. Sometimes I'll just look at a piece and just know that they're not going to take it. Donation is getting so damn picky in my area, and I'm sure all around. Their overflow of inventory is ridiculous. And they're just turning down everything. So sometimes I tell people, like, look, unless it's like brand new, they're not going to take it. I promise you. They're going to look at the smallest thing and say, no, I don't want that. I've been dealing with it constantly on a daily basis, and it's so frustrating because you're spending the time doing it. I digress. So I will still check with donation first, because I know customers would rather be happier to know that their stuff's going to get donated versus just going to the dump and getting chucked out the back of my trailer. Just know, though, if you ever see me at the dump and I'm throwing out something that looks nice, just know nobody else wanted it. But let's say donation doesn't want something and it's nice enough that it shouldn't be trashed. I'll try to sell it. You know, make some extra money. Or I'll bring it by a consignment shop. If all that fails, the dump is the next step. If it can't be recycled and it can't be scrapped for metal, it goes to the dump. But I'm not illegally dumping it. It's going to go to a transfer station. Then they're going to move it to the landfill and they're going to sort it out in their own way. So still helping out the environment a little bit. The next thing is expense tracking. So every day at the end of the night, I have a Excel sheet where I put down my expenses for that day. And I also have an envelope system for my receipts. So I'll keep all my paper receipts in here, and then I have an Excel sheet so that it's just a little bit easier to add stuff up and it's easier to keep track. And then I also have one for my job specs. So I'll put down my invoice number, the customer's name, date, phone number, address, email. Did I send them a thank you card? How did they hear about me? Stuff like that. When I do my expense tracking for the jobs, I'll put down the invoice number, the date, how much the job was. Did I give a discount? How much did I pay myself? How much did I pay labor, if any? How much was disposal? And then what was my profit at the end of the day for that job? But I try to do that every single night, so that way I never get overwhelmed with having to do a bunch of stuff at once. And then online updates. So this is going to be more of a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly kind of situation. Whether I am doing updating my information on my business, I'll probably end up doing monthly because my information doesn't really change much. As far as changing prompts and hashtags and stuff like that on social medias, that'll probably be a monthly thing as well. I do plan on doing a social media posting every single morning. I think Matt Vick does this from Sonoma Strong Hauling, where every morning he wakes up, he'll make coffee and he'll spend like an hour, hour and a half going over emails, voicemails, and then updating everything to his social medias. And I think that's a good idea, because what you're doing is you're leaving an imprint on the day to start. So you're already getting all that out of the way, and anyone hopping on social media throughout the day is more likely to see your stuff and maybe try to call you same day to get information. Whereas maybe if you post stuff at like 7 o'clock at night and they don't see it until 9 p.m., they may be less inclined to call you because they're going to assume you're closed. So maybe they call out tomorrow, but then maybe they forget. I don't know. I think the morning is a good idea. So I'll be making a time block, if you watch my time management video, where I can do that every morning and stay on top of it. And then I'll probably do like the last day of every month, I'll go ahead and update all my stuff on my websites and stuff. So that's pretty much it for how I plan on simplifying things. It's more just finding routines and patterns. As far as the time management goes, like I mentioned in that video, we're going to be doing time blocks where we focus in on one specific category of tasks, and we're going to set priorities for things that need to get done. That's either going to affect more of a change or that's more time sensitive. And then I'm also going to outsource tasks where feasible if it comes up. So that is my idea for simplifying everything that I do. It's honestly just going to come down to consistency. I can say all this, I can do some of it, but if I'm not consistent with it, I'm never going to see a great change. So that is kind of what I got for that. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. Damn shirts. Otherwise, hopefully it gives you guys a little bit of an insight, and I would encourage you to do this to your own business and then try to see if you can find ways to outsource it. Maybe you're a little bit more open to doing things like Workies and you're busy enough to where it makes sense. So that may be a little bit more of a lucrative thing for you. So maybe your simplifying is going to be like 10 times more efficient than mine. I'm just still trying to do it all myself. I'm just trying to make it a little bit more efficient, I guess, in a way that makes sense in my head. So that's what I have. I would also say look up online. I've been doing a lot of research and articles lately and finding like categories of things to help with myself, which then of course I'll make a video about for anyone else who would care for that. But I've been doing research in time management and staying organized and kind of streamlining and outsourcing processes and operations just to make things easier, because at the end of the day, I get stressed easily doing this and I get tired easily doing this. And then especially like if you have other things going on in your personal life, it's just a lot to take on by yourself. And I know everyone deals with this. I'm just trying to figure out how I can not get overly stressed about something that's never going to stop unless I choose to just close shop, which I don't plan on doing unless it becomes a desperate situation. So that is what I got on simplifying stuff. Hopefully it brought you guys some inspiration to do it yourself. If not, I'm sorry. And I will see you later on in the week. Thanks for watching. Bye.